How can you, as an e-commerce business owner, beat the big guys with their piles of cash, enormous resources and headcount? It can feel overwhelming and disheartening, to say the least, when you're trying to compete with these corporate giants. Well, I have the answer. The sling that David used to defeat Goliath, and I'm going to share it with you. Because, of course, this is the series where I give you a tip that you can apply to your e-commerce business to help you move it forward. No snake oil, no black hat, just solid, been there, done that advice. I'm Ben Leonard, and I built, scaled, and sold an international 7-figure e-commerce business. This is Ecom Made Easy. You can compete and even win against the big boys. What I'm going to share isn't a hack or a shortcut, it's a philosophy and a way of thinking. I call it micro agility. I've been teaching this for several years now, and I even consult with some large corporations to teach them how to do it, how to be more like the little guys. You see, micro agility is the ability of smaller businesses to be nimble versus the big corporates. Small, nimble, agile businesses are like speedboats. They can change direction very quickly. They can change itinerary very quickly. Whereas huge lumbering businesses are like cruise ships. They travel in one direction, take half a day to turn around. The itinerary is non-negotiable. They can't change. Micro agility is how my first fitness brand, I dominated Amazon for highly popular keywords, whilst very mature household name fitness brands that have existed for decades were nowhere to be seen. Even newer Amazon first brands which failed to adopt this mindset couldn't keep up with us. Micro agility is the mindset where instead of feeling restricted by our lack of cash and our lack of resources, we can feel free because we can turn on a dime and sneak under the radar. So ask yourself, what does not scale well? What can the big guys not do as well as me? And one answer to that is to build one-to-one relationships with customers and potential customers. For example, as a small and nimble business, you and your team can build personal relationships with customers over email, social media, and even WhatsApp. I literally would send WhatsApp video messages to customers who had bought from my website on my first brand. I DM'd everyone who tagged or posted about my brand on Instagram. I actually have an Instagram training over at benleonard.pro/insta, and the link is also in the description if you're watching the video version of this. I would reply to every email and actually engage in a long conversational email thread back and forth in which I paid attention to the customer, showing interest in their life, asking them questions about how I could help them in relation to their fitness goals. I would become a valuable member of Facebook groups related to my niche, and then I used those groups to launch my products. I would individually message people in those groups. I would become friends with the admins of those groups and get their permission to post in there. And I hear some of you saying, but Ben, these things won't scale. And I hear you, and there's two things that I would say on that. Number one, great, I'm glad it doesn't scale. This is how you identify the opportunities to act like a speedboat and beat the cruise ships, okay? Remember, a speedboat can't just scale and upgrade itself to become a cruise ship, right? So it's by its very nature, if you identify things that don't scale, then you're on to a winner. But the second thing is that actually it's not even necessarily true that some of these things don't scale. On the face of it, it might seem like that. But for instance, after it became impossible for me to do some of these things myself, I would create automations so they would be automatically done using tools like Zapier and Integromat. I created templates for my team so that they could go and do some of these things. And I hear you saying now, but Ben, if you can automate it and get your team to do it, then surely the corporates can do it too. And I hear you, but that's not what's happening. They're not doing that, at least not to this level of personalizations that the little guys can and do. You see, corporates are restricted by all the huge onion layers in their business, all the outdated software that they use and can't get rid of because it's so ingrained in their organization, all the approvals and sign-offs from management that they need to implement any good ideas that happen. So while you still can, ask yourself, what can I do that Acme Core can't? What are the tactics and strategies where actually it is an advantage to be small and lean? Find those things and go and do them. I hope that was helpful. Please subscribe, and you can get more at www.benleonard.pro. Cheers. Ecom Made Easy is brought to you by Ecom Brokers. We sell your business for the best possible price, hassle-free. We've been there and done it on all sides. We've built, scaled, and sold our own 7-figure brands. We have over 20 years mergers and acquisitions experience, and we're expert e-commerce accountants. Visit ecombrokers.co.uk and let's find out what your business is worth.